I happened to catch sight of my wife locked in an embrace with another man in the rain, behind the glass wall of the office building lobby. With traffic rushing past outside, my wife and that man were holding each other tightly. Their kiss burned into my eyes like acid. That tall, broad silhouette, I knew who it was with a single glance. It was the childhood friend she'd grown up with. I'd heard that Luna was his white moonlight. Let's never see each other again. He released my wife and said those words. But she reached out, clinging to him, murmuring, "Don't." It was so hard for me to finally meet you. I gripped my phone tighter. On the screen was the message I'd sent minutes ago. "Darling, are you off work yet? Let's go have a really nice dinner tonight, just us." All these years, I'd always believed I understood her better than anyone. Only now did I realize I had never truly known this woman. My phone vibrated. It was her reply. "Hubby, I have to meet an important client today. I'll be home late. Go ahead without me, okay?" I stared at the message and suddenly laughed. 5 years of marriage. This was the first time I clearly understood that every word from her mouth could be a lie. The man outside finally let go and walked away. Luna stood rooted to the spot for a long while, until she wiped away her tears, smoothed her expression, and turned to enter the building. I stepped back behind the potted plant in the shadowed corner, watching her click past me in her high heels. The smile on her face was so familiar, the one I had loved most all these years. But at this moment, it only made me feel nauseous. By the time she got home, it was already 9 in the evening. Seeing her drag her weary body through the door, I sat on the sofa pretending to watch TV. "Hubby, I'm sorry. I was really swamped today." She came over wanting to hug me. I instinctively dodged, leaving her frozen in place, a flash of panic in her eyes. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. I just suddenly don't want to be touched," I said coldly. "What do you mean by that?" Her voice trembled slightly. I turned to look at her. "Who did you meet today?" "Just a client," she stammered. "Is that so?" I stood up, towering over her. How intoxicating was that client's kiss? Her face went pale in an instant. She staggered back 2 steps and collapsed onto the sofa. "Hubby, Don't call me hubby." I cut her off icily. "Do you even deserve to?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. In the past, this sight would have broken my heart, but now it only struck me as ridiculous. "Vincent, let me explain," she sobbed. "Ethan and I are just old classmates. We ran into each other by chance today. He's leaving the country soon and wanted to see me one last time. So you couldn't help yourselves and kissed?" I sneered. "Luna, do you really think I'm that easy to fool?" I pulled out my phone and opened my notes. "On the 15th of last month you said you were working late, but you were actually having dinner with him at the Jinmao Hotel. On the 23rd, you said you were out with the girls, when in fact you went to an art exhibition with him. Early this month you specially took 2 days off, claiming you were visiting your parents, but you went to Suzhou with him." She stared at me in horror. "You've been investigating me? What else was I supposed to do?" I smirked. "Did you think I was an idiot? How could I miss all the strange things you've been doing lately?" "I'm sorry." She buried her face in her hands and sobbed. "I really know I was wrong. Ethan is leaving the country soon. This was just our farewell. I'll never see him again. Please forgive me, okay?" I looked at her tear-streaked, rain-on-pear blossom's face, yet felt not the slightest ripple in my heart. "Luna, do you think that makes everything okay? I'll do anything to earn your forgiveness." She clutched at my legs. "Hubby, punish me however you want. I was just momentarily possessed." I pushed her away. "Do you know what I hate most? Betrayal." She trembled violently. "From childhood to now, betrayal is what I despise above all. That's why with friends, with the woman I love, I give everything without holding back, because I hope to receive the same loyalty in return. I know you've been the best to me." She whimpered. "And you?" I crouched down, staring straight into her eyes. "The sincere heart I gave you all these years, was it really worth so little to you?" She shook her head frantically. "No. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me." "Grateful?" I suddenly laughed. "What am I to you? Some benefactor?" I stood up and walked to the study, pulled open a drawer, and took out a stack of documents. "This is the divorce agreement. See if there's anything you want to change." She looked as if struck by lightning. "No, hubby, you can't do this. The apartment stays with you. The car is mine. Our joint assets will be split 50-50. My voice was calm. "I don't owe you anything, and you don't need to feel guilty. That's how it will be. I don't want a divorce." She lunged forward and wrapped her arms around my waist. Hubby, give me one more chance, please. I swear I'll never see Ethan again. I'll make it up to you properly. I forcefully pried her hands off. Do you know what? Your performance today truly disappointed me. She froze. If you had honestly admitted your relationship with Ethan, admitted you still love him, I might actually have respected you more. I smiled coldly. But you? The moment you were caught, you started playing the poor pitiful victim, begging for mercy. Did you think that would soften me? That's not it, she murmured. I really regret it. Regret what? Regret that I found out? She was speechless. Luna, you know my personality. There's no way back from this. I tossed the divorce agreement in front of her. Think it over carefully, then sign. With that, I turned and went upstairs, locking myself in the study. From outside came the sound of her crying, but I ignored it completely. I took out my phone and texted my assistant. The meeting tomorrow, you'll have to cover for me. I might need to take a couple of days off. Lying on the recliner, I closed my eyes, and images from 5 years ago flooded my mind. The Luna of that time, how pure and beautiful she had been. Summer, 5 years ago, was the first time Luna and I met. It was an ordinary blind date. Truth be told, I had no expectations for blind dates. At 30, my career was soaring, and I never lacked admirers. But I couldn't stand my parents nagging, insisting I find someone suitable, and settle down. Luna was introduced by a colleague from the legal department. His cousin, freshly graduated with a master's degree, working at a foreign company. That day she wore a simple pale blue dress. The style was plain, yet it perfectly highlighted her ethereal grace. We sat in a cafe talking all afternoon, from work to life, from hobbies to dreams. She wasn't affected at all, spoke sincerely, occasionally blushing but never pretending to be innocent. On the way home that day I told my parents, it's her. They were both surprised and delighted. That fast? Talking with her just felt right. I smiled. Being with Luna really was comfortable. She had both the gentle charm of a southern girl, and the independence of a modern woman. When we dated, she never clung too much, yet never lacked the care that mattered. Most importantly, she was understanding, knew how busy my work was, never threw unreasonable tantrums. 6 months later we registered our marriage. The wedding wasn't extravagant, but it was proper. She looked stunning in her wedding dress. Among the guests below the stage, I saw Ethan, her childhood friend, was there too. He came with his girlfriend, and gave an expensive pair of crystal glasses as a gift. Back then I even teased, you two are really close, huh? Luna smiled and said, yeah, we grew up together. He's practically my real brother. Who would have thought that real brother would one day become her lover? Life after marriage was like most young couples. The daily grind of earning a living, leaving for work in the morning, coming home at night. I was still busy with my career. She pursued her own, but we were deeply in love. Every morning she prepared breakfast for me, often just a simple sandwich, yet it filled me with the warmth of home. On weekends we went supermarket shopping together. She pushed the cart, I picked the items. Sometimes we'd playfully argue over a bag of chips or a carton of milk. Those days were truly beautiful. Last year I was promoted to vice president. Work became even busier, frequent business trips. But I never forgot to surprise her. When traveling far away, I'd have my assistant send flowers to her office. Hearing she was under pressure lately, I specially took leave to take her to Sonia for a vacation. Lying on the beach chair she laughed, hubby, you're so good to me. I ruffled her hair. Silly, you're my wife. Back then I thought, this kind of life would go on forever. Until 2 months ago, she started to change. At first the changes were tiny, always staring blankly at her phone. Mood swings. When I asked what was wrong, she only said work stress. I didn't think much of it. After all, she was very ambitious. But gradually, I realized something was off. She began staying late at the office constantly, coming home in the dead of night. Sometimes when I called, she said she was at the company, but the background noise clearly came from a restaurant or mall. I tested her a few times. She always brushed me off carelessly. Finally one day, I saw a WeChat message on her phone from Ethan. I miss you. In that moment my heart turned half cold, but I didn't make a scene. I quietly hired someone to investigate. Soon a detailed report was placed before me. It turned out Ethan had returned from abroad 6 months ago to start a business. In those 6 months he had been meeting Luna frequently, from accidentally running into each other and reminiscing at first, to later becoming ambiguously involved. They ate together, watched movies, even traveled to Suzhou together. Every photo, every diary entry, was like a knife stabbing my heart. I had hoped it was all a misunderstanding, but the scene I witnessed with my own eyes today completely shattered that illusion. 3 in the morning. I still couldn't sleep. Outside the study, Luna's crying had long stopped. I wasn't sure if she had left. Opening the door, I found her curled up on the floor right outside. Hearing the noise, she immediately looked up. "Hubby, get up, the floor is cold," I said. She hurriedly scrambled to her feet, wanting to come closer. I stepped back. "Let's talk." In the living room, she obediently sat on the sofa. Her eyes were swollen from crying, makeup smeared everywhere. In the past, seeing her like this would have made my heart ache, and I'd wipe her tears. But now I only wanted to end everything quickly. "Are you really sure you want a divorce?" she asked in a small voice. I nodded. "It's the best choice." "Why?" she panicked. "Can't we start over?" "Start over?" I laughed coldly. "Do you think that's possible?" I know I was wrong, truly wrong. She grabbed my hand. "Give me one more chance. I swear I'll never see Ethan again." I flung her hand away. "Do you think this is just about whether you cheated or not?" She froze. "Luna, ask yourself honestly, do you really not love Ethan?" She bit her lip and said nothing. "You know, I actually found out about you two a long time ago," I said calmly, "but I kept waiting for you to tell me the truth yourself. I knew he was your white moonlight, childhood sweethearts." I continued, "But when he had a girlfriend, you chose to marry me. I thought you had truly accepted me." She lowered her head. "I did accept you sincerely. Did you?" I sneered. "Then why couldn't you control yourself the moment he came back?" "I don't know," she cried. "I just couldn't control myself." "So you admit you still love him?" She fell silent. That silence was louder than any answer. "Fine. Then let me ask one more thing." I stared into her eyes. "If I hadn't discovered it today, what were you planning to do?" She shook her head frantically. I don't know. Let me guess," I said coldly. "Were you going to wait until he settled abroad, then go find him?" Her body visibly trembled. "Vincent, it wasn't like that," she hurriedly explained. "I was just confused for a moment. Ethan said this time abroad, he might not return for a very long time, so you couldn't resist giving him a farewell kiss?" I mocked. "How touching. Don't say it like that." She painfully covered her face. "I really know I was wrong." Too late. I stood up. "Tomorrow I'll have the lawyer send over the detailed agreement. Look it over and sign if there's no issue." "Vincent," she grabbed my sleeve, "please, give me one more chance. We're still young, we can still start again." I turned around, looking down at her from above. "Luna, you know what? Your biggest mistake wasn't the affair." She looked at me in confusion. "It was thinking I would forgive you." With that I walked straight upstairs. Behind me came the sound of her breaking down in sobs, but I didn't look back. Tonight was destined to be sleepless. I lay on the bed, recalling every detail of the past years. So it turned out. Our marriage had been a mistake from the very beginning. When she married me, her heart still held another man's shadow, and I was merely his substitute. Thinking of this, I suddenly laughed. "Well played, Luna. Didn't you think I would forgive you? Didn't you think I was easy to deceive? Then let's have some fun." I took out my phone and texted my assistant. "Help me look into the specific situation of Ethan's company. This play has only just begun." Early the next morning, I received a call from my mother. "Little Vincent, did you and Luna fight?" I paused for a moment. "She called you?" "Yes," crying so hard she could barely breathe. Mom sighed. "What on earth happened?" I laughed coldly. "She didn't tell you the reason? She only said you want to divorce her." Mom sounded worried. "Little Vincent, can't you two talk it out? Luna is such a good girl." "Good?" I interrupted. "Mom, do you know she cheated on me?" Silence, on the other end. "And with her childhood sweetheart." I continued. "Well, still think she's good?" Mom was clearly shocked. "Is this real?" I saw it with my own eyes. "Then, you still can't just divorce like this." Mom still tried to persuade. "Young people, everyone makes mistakes." "Mom," I said seriously, "there's no room for discussion on this." Another long silence. "Fine." Finally Mom sighed. "Do what you think is right." After hanging up I checked the time. 9 o'clock. Time to go to work. Opening the study door, I found Luna still outside. She was leaning against the wall, clearly hadn't slept all night. Seeing me she immediately stood. "Hubby, don't be so intimate," I said indifferently. "We're no longer in that relationship." Her eyes reddened again. Are you really that heartless? What else? I countered. Should I act like a fool and forgive you, then watch you two put on a show in front of me? I won't, she said anxiously. Ethan really is leaving the country soon. We'll never meet again. So? I sneered. Just because he's leaving, you come back to play the dutiful wife, treating me like a spare tire? I didn't, she faltered. Fine. You should go to work too. I brushed past her and walked out. The divorce, I'll have the lawyer handle it as quickly as possible. Vincent. She screamed behind me. Are you really not giving me another chance? I stopped but didn't turn around. What do you think? No sound came from behind. I knew she was crying again. But this time I wouldn't soften, because I understood her tears weren't from remorse, but from reluctance to part with Ethan. At the company, I handled work as usual. At noon my assistant sent me a file, detailed information on Ethan. It turned out after returning, he had used investments from a few partners to start an AI medical device company. It sounded promising, but in reality, the products had no real breakthrough. Recently he was seeking a new funding round. Interesting. I curled my lip and replied to the assistant. Schedule a meeting with him. The assistant arranged it quickly. 3 o'clock that afternoon in the company reception room. I wanted to see what was so special about the man who had my wife utterly enchanted. At exactly 3, Ethan arrived on time. He was even more handsome than in photos. No wonder Luna had lost her soul over him. President Vincent, I've long admired your name. He extended his hand, smiling perfectly. I shook it. President Ethan is too kind. Please, sit. He sat across from me, taking out a stack of documents from his briefcase. I took the liberty today, mainly to discuss our company's latest research project with you. By all means. I leaned back in my chair. I'm quite interested. He began talking at length about his company's products. Just some AI medical devices. Sounded academic, but I knew their technology was far from mature. So, what does President Vincent think of the project? He looked at me expectantly after finishing. I smiled faintly. Sounds decent. His eyes lit up. Then is President Vincent interested in investing? Invest? Of course I'll invest, I said slowly. However what? President Ethan, do you think this valuation is appropriate? I looked at him. After all, your products haven't truly been market tested yet. He grew a little anxious. You can rest assured about that. We've already reached preliminary cooperation intentions with several major hospitals. Oh. I cut him off. Renhe Hospital? He froze. How did you know? Ha ha ha. I laughed coldly. Because the director of Renhe Hospital is my old friend. His expression changed. So I'm very clear. You haven't actually closed any deal with them. I continued. You didn't even pass the prototype testing. Sweat began to bead on his forehead. President Ethan, business requires trust. I said meaningfully. If you can't even manage that, it's hard to continue the conversation. President Vincent is right. He bowed his head. I was inconsiderate. No problem. I waved it off. I still think highly of your company. How about this? Go back and prepare a more detailed document. We'll talk again next week. He looked relieved. Yes, thank you, President Vincent. Seeing him to the door, I suddenly said, by the way, President Ethan, you're heading abroad soon, right? His back visibly stiffened. Yes. That's the plan. Then I wish you smooth sailing. I patted his shoulder. But before you go, best to clean up any loose ends. Some things dragged on too long aren't good for anyone. He turned to look at me, a trace of panic in his eyes. What do you mean, President Vincent? Just the literal meaning. I smiled. Take care. Watching his hurried departing figure, the corner of my mouth lifted slightly. This kind of man, all flash on the outside, nothing solid within. I took out my phone and received a message from an unknown number. Video sent to your email. Opening the mail. It was surveillance footage. Yesterday. The entire process of Ethan and Luna embracing and kissing on the street. I had someone pull all the cameras from that stretch of road. In the video, their expressions and movements were crystal clear. I saved the video and replied, thanks for the hard work. That evening when I got home, I found Luna there again. She had changed clothes and was busy in the kitchen. Hearing the door, she rushed out. You're back? I glanced at her and went straight upstairs. Wait, she chased after me. I made your favorite dish. Can we eat together? No need. I didn't look back. I have plans with friends. You're lying. She grabbed my arm tightly. You don't have any plans tonight. I stopped. You're checking up on me? No. She bit her lip. I called your assistant. Ha, you're pretty good at digging for information. I shook her off. Then why don't you check where your Ethan went today? Her face changed. You. What do you mean? Nothing. I shrugged. Just reminding you. Your man came to see me today to talk business. He came to you. She said in shock. That's right, asking for investment. I looked at her with a half smile. What, he didn't tell you? She lowered her head. We've stopped contacting each other. Oh, cut it off that fast? I mocked. Weren't you two kissing like you couldn't bear to part just yesterday? Stop. Tears welled up again. I really know I was wrong. Fine. Stop acting out a melodramatic soap opera here. I lost patience. If you truly feel guilty, then hurry up and sign the divorce papers. No. She threw herself forward and hugged me tight. Hubby, give me one more chance. I really love you. I can't live without you. I looked down at her. Are you sure the person you love is me? She froze. Luna, think carefully. I said word by word. Who exactly do you love me as a person, or the life I give you? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. You're a smart woman, I continued. You know Ethan's current situation isn't good, so you're scared. You're scared that following him would mean no stable life, so you want to come back to me. That's not it, she whimpered. Whether it is or isn't, you know in your heart. I pushed her away. Go pack your things and move out. I'll be staying at a hotel these next few days. You can keep the apartment until the divorce is finalized. With that, I turned and went downstairs. Behind me came her crying. Vincent, are you really going to be this heartless? I stopped but didn't turn around. Heartless? When you betrayed me, why didn't you think about the word heartless? She said nothing more. Handle it yourself. I walked out without looking back. At the hotel, I called my assistant. About Ethan, are all the company documents ready? They're all here, the assistant said. They're really short on cash lately. Heard several investors have pulled out. Tomorrow arrange a meeting with his other shareholders. Yes, sir. The assistant hesitated. President Vincent, you want to just do as I say. I cut him off. Oh, and have legal prepare the contracts. After hanging up, I lay on the bed and lit a cigarette. Ethan, aren't you short on money? Then let me lend you a hand and show you what real despair feels like. The following week, I stayed at the hotel, worked during the day, hit the gym at night to burn off stress. Only when exhausted to the bone could I temporarily forget the pain. Luna sent messages every day, but I never replied. She also called at the same time each day. I never answered. Today after work, my assistant came to report. President Vincent, progress on Ethan's side. The largest shareholder agreed to negotiate with us. He handed me a file on the share transfer. I skimmed it. When's the meeting? 10 tomorrow morning. Good. I nodded. Make sure legal prepares thoroughly. I want this deal to be flawless. The next day's meeting went smoothly. Ethan. All the shareholders understood the dire situation. They desperately needed fresh capital, and I was clearly the best option. The only one opposing was Ethan, but his shares were too few to change anything. President Vincent, we've considered this agreement carefully. Their largest shareholders said, as long as you acquire at this price, we'll hand over full control to you. I smiled. Deal. Then it's settled. Ethan sat in the corner, face livid. After signing, he rushed up to me. Vincent, what the hell are you trying to do? Do what? I countered. Invest, of course. What? President Ethan, not welcome. He gnashed his teeth. You already know something, don't you? What do I know? I smiled, feeling guilty. President Ethan? He was speechless. Don't worry, I have no interest in your private life. I patted his shoulder. I'm only interested in your technology. Do good work. Don't disappoint me. With that I turned and left. Behind me he shouted. Vincent, don't go too far. I didn't look back. Too far. Then you should think carefully who the real excessive one is. Back in my office, the assistant asked, President Vincent, what's next? What else? I laughed coldly. Naturally, clean house properly, but their technology really isn't bad. So what? I cut him off. Just let them keep ruining it? The assistant said no more. Go arrange it. Audit starts tomorrow. I said, I want to see what wonderful things they've been up to these past years. That night at the hotel, I found Luna waiting at my door. Why are you here? I frowned. I asked the hotel for your room number. She said pitifully, I have something to tell you. There's nothing to say. Please, just 10 minutes. She grabbed my sleeve. I checked my watch. 5 minutes. She looked relieved. Okay. Inside the room, she got straight to the point. Why did you acquire Ethan's company? I sneered. What? He tattled to you? He called me. She lowered her head. He said you did it on purpose. That's right. I did it on purpose. I sat on the sofa. What else? Would you rather I watch you two lovebirds in front of me? No. She said quickly. We've really cut contact. Please let him go? Let him go? I laughed coldly. Luna. You really care about him, don't you? She froze. Look at yourself right now. I mocked. You clearly came to beg me, yet every word is defending him. You think that will soften me? That's not. She bit her lip. I just don't want you to do something wrong because of me. I'm the one doing something wrong? I stood up, towering over her. So what you two did was right. She was speechless. Fine. Your 5 minutes are up. I pointed at the door. Please leave. Vincent. She still wanted to speak. Get out. I roared. She flinched, stumbled back. Tears fell again. You've really changed. You never treated me like this before. Yes, I've changed. I said coldly, because you've used up the last of my gentleness. She ran out sobbing. I collapsed onto the sofa and lit a cigarette. Luna. Oh Luna. You really make me see you in a new light. So quick to come pleading for Ethan. I want to see when he's completely ruined. Whether you two can still be so lovey-dovey. The next day the audit team entered Ethan's company. As expected, problems were found quickly. President Vincent, their books have major issues. The CFO brought the report to me. Misuse of funds. And several clearly faked contracts. Oh, I raised a brow. Details. For example, this R&D contract. He pointed at the report, 20 million yuan. But no such project actually exists. The money was transferred to a shell company. Evidence? All here. He handed me a thick file. We traced it. The shell company is owned by Ethan's distant cousin. I smiled. Perfect. Go report it to the police. The CFO hesitated. Should we talk to them first? No need. I waved it off. Just do what needs to be done. That afternoon Ethan was taken away by the police. The news spread fast. Their stock plummeted. I was handling documents in my office when Luna suddenly burst in. Vincent, why are you doing this? She screamed like a madwoman. I looked up at her. This is the company. Mind your words and behavior. You bastard. She lunged to hit me. My assistant held her back. Escort her out. I told the assistant, Vincent, you can't treat him like this. She struggled and screamed. You know he's leaving the country soon. I walked up to her. So, because he's leaving, he can forge books. Embezzle company funds? She froze. What forged books? Huh, looks like he didn't tell you. I laughed coldly. You thought I was using public power for private revenge. Sorry. These are crimes. He committed himself. She couldn't believe it. Impossible. He wouldn't do that. There's no wall the wind can't blow through. I said. Whatever he did will come to light eventually. She collapsed to the floor. No. It must be a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. I crouched down, leaning close to her ear. I whispered. Why don't you go to the police station and ask him if it's really a misunderstanding? Her whole body shook. Luna, your taste in men is impressive. I mocked. You can love a scumbag like that to death. Shut up. She covered her ears. What? Don't want to hear it? I continued. Then why don't you think? The money he embezzled. Did he use it to treat you to lavish dinners? To book hotel rooms? Shut up. She broke down sobbing. I stood up. Take her out. Don't let her in here again. The assistant dragged her away. I walked to the window and lit a cigarette. Ethan. Ethan. This is your retribution. And Luna, seeing her collapse like that, suddenly felt so satisfying. Everything has only just begun. The Ethan scandal blew up. Media fought to report it, saying his company was involved in massive fraud. As the largest shareholder, I immediately issued a statement, expressing full cooperation with the investigation, and willingness to compensate investors for their losses. Overnight, I became a positive example in the fight against financial fraud. Ethan was detained awaiting trial. Rumor said his family tried to bail him out, but the evidence was ironclad. No chance. That day I was resting at home, when the doorbell rang. Opening it, it was Ethan's younger sister, President Vincent. Please save my brother. Without another word, she knelt down. I frowned. Miss Ethan, I can't help with this. I know you can. She cried. If you want, you can get him out. Sorry. I stepped back. Everyone is equal before the law. You're clearly taking revenge, she screamed. Just because of my brother and your wife. My face darkened. Miss Ethan, watch your words. Am I wrong? She laughed coldly. You're jealous. So you want my brother dead. Enough. I cut her off. What your brother did. The evidence is all there. If you're not convinced, hire a lawyer and sue. But don't come here making trouble. You bastard. She still wanted to curse. Security. I called. Security quickly dragged her away. Before leaving, she screamed. You'll get your karma. I laughed coldly and closed the door. Karma? I want to see who gets it first. That night I received a message. From Luna. Please spare Ethan. He didn't mean it. I replied directly. Go ask him. If those 20 million were unintentional. She said nothing more. Much later another message came. He said he was framed. Haha. I replied. Then why don't you ask him, who framed him? This time, she didn't reply. I knew she must have gone to ask. But Ethan wouldn't tell her the truth. Wouldn't tell her. The 20 million was to pay off his overseas gambling debts. For years, he had racked up enormous debts at foreign casinos. To pay them he forged books and siphoned funds. All those records were in my drawer. But I wouldn't tell. Let Luna believe. He was the victim. Until the very end, she would understand exactly what kind of man she had loved. The next day the assistant reported, President Vincent. The court has set the trial date. When? Next Tuesday. I nodded. Good. Have legal prepare. I'll testify in person. This. The assistant hesitated. What? Madam came to see me yesterday, he said cautiously. She wants to meet you. I laughed coldly. Meet me for what? To beg again? She said it's something very important. No meeting. I refused outright. Tell her if there's anything, talk to the lawyer. The assistant agreed, and turned to leave. Wait. I called him back. How has she been lately? I heard she was hospitalized. My hand froze. Why? Seems overworked, plus emotional shock. She fainted. I was silent for a moment. Got it. Go do your work. After he left, I sat lost in thought. Truth be told, hearing she was hospitalized still made my heart ache a little. After all those years together, the feelings weren't fake. I took out my phone, scrolled to her contact. It was still there. Her profile picture was our photo from Sonia. She leaned on my shoulder, smiling so sweetly. I sighed, closed the phone. Luna, why make yourself so miserable? If you hadn't betrayed me from the start, we could have grown old together. Unfortunately, there's no going back now. The day of the trial, reporters packed the courthouse. Ethan's case was too high profile. Media cared deeply. I sat in the witness stand, watching his haggard figure in the defendant's seat. The judge asked me, Mr. Vincent, as the largest shareholder, when did you discover the issues? During a routine audit. I said calmly. We found fake contracts. Embezzlement of company funds. Are you certain these acts were committed by Ethan? His signature is there. Transfer records too. I said, moreover, the shell company is owned by his relatives. Ethan suddenly jumped up. Vincent, you know that's not true. Court police immediately restrained him. Defendant, maintain order. The judge banged the gavel. I looked at Ethan, voice still calm. I'm only stating facts. The rest, the court will decide. He glared at me, eyes full of hatred, but I knew, he didn't hate me for exposing his crimes. He hated me for destroying his future with Luna. The trial lasted all day, with ironclad evidence. Ethan had almost no chance of overturning the verdict. In the end he was sentenced to 10 years. Walking out of the courthouse, reporters swarmed me. President Vincent, do you think this verdict is fair? The law has its own justice. I said. Our company will continue cooperating with the investigation, giving investors a satisfactory explanation. I heard your relationship with Ethan isn't ordinary, one reporter asked. I smiled. Business is a battlefield. There's no such thing as an ordinary relationship. About to get in the car, someone suddenly called, Vincent. I turned. It was Luna. Her face was deathly pale. She had lost a full circle of weight. Reporters instantly turned their cameras on her. Madam, did you come to observe the trial? Someone asked. She ignored them, staring at me. Are you satisfied now? I frowned. This isn't the place to talk. Why? She laughed coldly. Afraid people will learn the truth? The reporters perked up. What truth? Enough. I grabbed her wrist, pulled her into the car. The driver started the engine immediately. What are you crazy about? I released her. Want to make tomorrow's headlines? I'm the crazy one. She covered her face and sobbed. Seeing you treat Ethan like this, I really went mad. Him. You really do care about him. I mocked. Recovered so fast you ran here from the hospital. Vincent, you've changed. She looked up. Tears streaming. You weren't like this before. Yes, I've changed, I said coldly. Didn't you always want to know why I targeted Ethan? Now I'll tell you. She froze. I took a file from my briefcase. Look for yourself. She took it, hands shaking. It was Ethan's gambling records from overseas casinos. Losing money, borrowing, threatened with violence. Every incident listed. Is this real? She couldn't believe it. You think I'd fake this to trick you? She flipped to the last page. Ethan signed IOU, a neat 50 million yuan. So he embezzled to pay gambling debts. I finished for her. Did you think he was in such a rush to leave the country, just to escape debt? She slumped in the seat, completely dazed. Your white moonlight is this kind of trash. I laughed coldly. Understand now? No way. She murmured. He isn't like that. Then what is he like? I countered. Deeply passionate, loyal, righteous and true. She was speechless. Luna, you're a smart woman. I looked at her. All these years abroad he wasn't starting a business. He was gambling and borrowing. Enough. She covered her ears tight. When he came back, he wanted a fresh start. But it wasn't that easy. I continued. So he could only embezzle. And you were nothing more than his backup plan. I don't believe it. She screamed. He said he loved me. Of course, he'd say he loved you. I mocked. Because he knew you had a rich husband. If his mess ever came out, he might still rely on you to beg for mercy. Her whole body shook. You're lying. Lying? I laughed coldly. Then go ask him why he was in such a hurry to take you away. Why he absolutely had to see you before leaving the country. She finally broke down completely, sobbing uncontrollably. Driver, stop the car, I said. The car pulled over. I opened the door. Get out. Vincent. She looked up at me, eyes full of despair. Go home and think carefully, I said. Exactly what kind of person your white moonlight is. Watching her stumble out of the car, my heart didn't waver at all. This is your retribution, Luna, for a scumbag you destroyed our marriage. Now you finally know the truth. After Ethan went to prison, his company quickly went bankrupt. I transferred all valuable patents and technology to my own company. The rest of the debts I left for creditors to chase. That day I was working in the office when my mother suddenly visited. Little Vincent, how have you been lately? She asked with concern. Pretty good. I smiled. Why the sudden visit, Mom? Why else? She sighed. Of course because of you and Luna. My face darkened. Mom, there's no discussing this. Calm down a little. She persuaded. Luna is in the hospital now. I heard her condition is very bad. What does that have to do with me? You were husband and wife after all. Mom, I interrupted. Stop meddling. I know what I'm doing. She still wanted to say more, but seeing my firm attitude, she gave up. Why is this child so stubborn? She said helplessly. Fine, handle it yourself. After seeing Mom off, I leaned back and lit a cigarette. Truth be told, this period had worn me out too. Though revenge went smoothly, I always felt empty inside. That night when I got home, someone was standing at the door. It was Sophia, Luna's best friend. Vincent, I have something to say. She went straight to the point. Go ahead. Luna really knows she was wrong. She said, can't you forgive her? I laughed coldly. Here to persuade me again? Do you know, she cries every day now. Sophia said anxiously. The doctor says if this continues, she'll get depression. So what? You were husband and wife after all, she said. And I know you still love her deep down. Oh? How do you know? Because if you didn't love her, you wouldn't be this angry. Sophia said seriously. You wouldn't have gone to such lengths to destroy Ethan. I fell silent. Indeed, if I truly didn't care, why would I bother with all this effort? Give her one chance, Sophia begged. I promise she'll never make the same mistake. I took a deep breath. Go tell her the divorce is non-negotiable. You. Sophia stamped her foot in anger. Why are you so stubborn? Because some things, once done, can't be undone. I said calmly, like a broken mirror. Even if glued back together, the cracks will always remain. She still wanted to say more, but seeing my resolve, she had to leave. I stood at the window watching her figure disappear. suddenly remembering long ago. Luna had also called me stubborn. We had only been dating a short while, arguing over something small. She pouted. Why are you so stubborn? I smiled. Because once I decide on something, I see it through to the end. Have you decided on me yet? She asked mischievously. Of course. I ruffled her hair. Decided. For life. No changing. Too bad. In the end, the one who changed was you. I took out my phone. One missed call. From the hospital. Calling back, the nurse said, Mr. Vincent, your wife fainted again today. The doctor says her condition isn't good, needs a family member to sign. I was silent a moment. Have her parents go. But, we're no longer husband and wife. I cut her off. Don't call me about these things anymore. After hanging up, I texted my assistant. Go to the hospital and check on Luna. Pay any bills needed, but don't say it's from me. Soon the assistant replied. Yes, sir. But President Vincent, do you want to visit her? No need. I replied. That's it. I put down the phone and stepped onto the balcony. A light drizzle fell under the night sky. I suddenly remembered she was most afraid of thunder. Every time there was thunder, she'd burrow into my arms. I would gently pat her back until she fell asleep. Now thinking back, those memories felt like another lifetime. Luna. What exactly were we? A week later I received court papers. Divorce petition. Looks like Luna finally saw reason. The day of the hearing, she wore all black, gaunt, and frighteningly pale. The judge asked both parties if we were certain about divorce. Certain. I said. Luna lowered her head, softly yes. Regarding asset division, any objections? I agree with everything he proposed, she said, voice very light. The divorce was quickly finalized. Walking out of the courthouse, she suddenly called. Vincent, anything else? I'm sorry, she said, really sorry. I looked at her. No need for those words anymore. I know you hate me. She smiled bitterly. I hate myself too. Do whatever you want. I turned to leave. Wait, she took an envelope from her bag. This is for you. What is it? A letter I wrote, she said. Read it or throw it away, up to you. With that, she turned and walked away. Looking at her retreating back, I suddenly realized the radiant girl from years ago had completely vanished. Back home I opened the envelope. Inside was a sheet of familiar handwriting. Vincent, when you read this letter, we are no longer husband and wife. These days I've been thinking, why did it turn out like this? Maybe because I was too greedy, wanting to hold on to shadows of the past. Maybe because I was too selfish, betraying your true heart. I know everything about Ethan now. He really isn't a good person. I really was deceived. But that's no excuse for betraying you. The one who was wrong is me. I betrayed our marriage. These days, I often dream of the time we spent together. Your kindness to me, every little bit, is so clear. Yet I destroyed it all with my own hands. Vincent, I'm sorry. I know sorry means nothing now, but I still want to say it. Sorry for failing your sincerity, for hurting your feelings, for destroying our marriage. I wish you happiness. Never meet someone like me again. Luna. After reading the letter, I crumpled it into a ball and threw it in the trash, then lit a cigarette and smoked it in silence. The next day the assistant rushed in. President Vincent, madam. No, Miss Luna was hospitalized. What happened? Seems she overdosed on sleeping pills, he said, but she was saved. I was silent a moment. Got it. Aren't you going to visit her? No need. I said. Help me arrange something. I want to go on a business trip for a while. Where to? The States. I said. There's a project that needs negotiating. I'll handle it personally. Actually, there was no project. I just wanted to leave for a while. Leave this suffocating city. Leave these painful memories. Before leaving I received a message. From Sophia. Luna wants to see you one last time. I deleted it directly. Some people, some things once goodbye is said. It really is goodbye. The moment the plane took off, I looked at the white clouds outside the window, suddenly remembering she loved window seats most. Every business trip she would lean on my shoulder, pointing out the window. Hubby, look, we're flying higher than the clouds. Now thinking back, those images felt like another life. Farewell, Luna. My past,